I'm Michael Bain, and welcome to Triggered, coming to you, of course, from the secret hidden bunker in the Rocky Mountains and Dragon House Studios, and brought to you this week by Taurus. Today, I want to show you what happens when a gun company gets everything, and I mean everything, right. This is a Ruger LC Carbine, brand new, released this week. You'll see clearly a familial relationship with this. This is the Ruger 5.7 pistol, a real surprise when it was released in 2020 at SHOT Show, because it's a pistol chambered in 5.7 by 2.8, which is a niche, as we say, cartridge. So this week, Ruger introduced a 5.7 by 2.8 carbine. Now, if you take a look at this thing, when I say Ruger did everything right, let me quickly step you through the features. Number one, ambidextrous to almost everything. Paddle safety here, you have a safety there, of course, on the trigger. You can swap the bolt handle right side to left side. There's plenty that you can do to make this however you particularly want it. Notice how compact the gun is. That's because Ruger has a kind of unique bolt over barrel setup here that allows them to create basically 27 and a half inch overall length carbine that can expand out to roughly 30.6, something like that, with this excellent collapsing and expanding stock. The stock itself is attached on a pick rail, so if you don't like this excellent stock, which I do, you're welcome to change it for any number of other stocks that attach on a pick rail. 16.25 inch barrel, 1.5 by 28 threaded for suppressor, muzzle brake, coffee maker, whatever you would like. There are a number of quick detach sling points already built in on the gun, which is very, very handy. Obviously, full-length pick rail on top. It comes with the Ruger pop-up, backup iron sights, which is a really nice feature. I like these sights. What I've elected to put on this carbine, because it is the perfect optic for this carbine, is a primary arms SLX ACSS reticle, Cyclops reticle. The gun comes with one 20-round magazine, and the magazines made by Ruger are numerous, relatively inexpensive, readily available. Now you can see in this case, because we live in Colorado, which is a state that is currently allied with the existing fascist government of the United States, these are 10-rounders. You can tell by the big plastic plate here. Another alternative, just for those of you still stuck in a state until all the new rulings come down from high courts, this is a 20-round magazine that is blocked to 15 rounds with the block glued to the plate at the bottom, the spring plate, and the butt plate glued in place, basically a sacrifice to the gods of idiots. So, it shoots great. I took it out, I couldn't wait. I got it Monday, took it out, ran it out tomorrow, put this sight on it, didn't even sight it in, I knew it was close. Went out to the 25-yard line on my target and quickly put 10 rounds into the head of my pepper popper at 25 yards. Effectively, 5.7 by 2.8 doesn't recoil very much at all. So what you have here is a gun that recoils like a .22 long rifle, takes 20-round magazines, and by the way, they're already available in numerous places, 5-round extensions and 10-round extensions. I'd especially like to call out Tandem Cross, my friends at Tandem Cross, for their 5-round extension on this carbine. Why do I say they do everything right? What you want in a lightweight carbine is you want a lightweight carbine, easy to shoot. Shooting, now here's where it gets questionable, an effective cartridge. And we're going to talk about that in the next segment of the show. But for right now, I would have to say all my response for this guy shooting this little bitty hornet of a cartridge is wow. Welcome back to Triggered, where now that I've told you how much I like this little gun, how much fun it is to shoot. By the way, it's about $1,000 it'll probably be down 700, 800, roughly in that vicinity when it appears on the street and fills the pipelines. Now I'm going to answer the question you all have, which is number one. Well, everybody knows you cannot get 5.7 ammo. And that was true for a long time. There are only 3 makers of 5.7 ammo: FN, Fiocchi, and Federal American Eagle. And for a long time, they were as hard to find as hen's teeth. So before I came out to the studio, I went to an ammunition search engine, AmmoSeek. That's the one I use. There's a lot of other ones. Pick one and search 5.7 by 2.8. I got 3 full pages of response. That is a lot of available ammo. And now you're saying, yeah, but it costs a lot. Well, actually, all ammo costs a lot now. But the starting price on, say, this guy here, the American Eagle, 40 grain ammo, was roughly 82 cents a round. Again, that's high, but it's not off the charts high. For those of us who shoot big bore rifles and are used to thinking in terms of $2.50, $3 a round, 82 cents sounds like a bargain to us. The second controversial point that we're going to have to talk about with this carbine, that we also talked about with this pistol, is, hey, does it work? Is the 5.7 by 2.8 a self-defense cartridge? Well, let me say for a start, it's a NATO certified cartridge. It was certified by NATO in 2021. It was originally made in 1990 for NATO for personal defense weapons. The only reason that it wasn't adopted then is Germany had a hissy fit. Well, Germans are going to freeze this winter, so who cares? But does it work? I'm going to give you a definite maybe on that. Is it going to stop a Tyrannosaurus Rex? The answer is no. But there are enough military, enough police units, including the U.S. Secret Service, using this round to say that it is, in fact, effective if you hit the target with it. Now, in fact, one of the worst terrorist events in the United States, the Fort Hood shooting, utilized a 5.7, and all the articles spoke about, quote unquote, the deadliness of the cartridge. Will a 5.7 by 28 work? Yes, absolutely, under the same terms as a 22 long rifle and a 22 Magnum will work, which is that you have to hit the target, and you have to factor in a number of other things, like how many times you hit the target. However, with something like the Ruger LC Carbine, hitting the target is not a problem. The gun is ergonomic. When you throw it to your shoulder, it's very comfortable. It fits very, very well. It doesn't have any quirky manual of arms. It has the manual of arms of a pistol. By the way, it has a great magazine release too. It's a lever push down instead of a button pushed in. Because the gun is ergonomic and because the cartridge doesn't recoil, it allows you to run the gun very quickly and very accurately. So one of the reasons I went with the primary arm Cyclops reticle is because it has lines down below for adjusting your elevation. And I think this gun can push out to 100 yards. Other thing I like about this gun is the idea that I like guns and pistols of the same caliber. Ever since the Old West, there's been something very attractive about having a carbine and a pistol in the same caliber. Of course, in the Old West, it was .44-40. But here, with the 5.7 pistol, the 5.7 carbine, they share magazines. They share operating controls. If you pick up one, you can feel pretty much what it's like to pick up the other. That has an advantage in a self-defense situation where there are 2 people, a person and his or her spouse, where you've got magazine interchangeability between the handgun and the carbine. All in all, I think this gun's going to be a success. The reason that this pistol almost fell into limbo doesn't have anything to do with the gun, the cartridge, its use as self-defense, none of those things. What it has to do is COVID. COVID blew up the market just after the introduction of this gun. Got a little bit more when Triggered returns. This week's Triggered is brought to you by Armscore, Rock Island Armory. What's your passion? Taurus USA, always ready, always bring it. Stoger, everyday tough. SDS Imports and the Tisas PX9. Precisus means quality. Hunter's HD Gold. They change so you don't have to. Welcome back to Triggered and our Your Best Defense segment. And I wanted to talk about what changes in your training if you choose to use what I think of as a sub-caliber gun. Sub-caliber being defined as anything less than 9mm. And this advice applies to 22, it applies to 25, it applies to 22 Magnum, fill in the blank. The first thing I tell you is to use the right ammunition, but unfortunately at this exact point in time, the right ammunition isn't available. In the 2020 SHOT Show, when the Ruger 5.7 was released, also announced was Speer Gold Dot personal defense rounds in 5.7 by 28. That got caught up in the COVID morass as well and the ammunition shortage that followed. So those rounds are still listed as coming, available soon, and I know some of them actually got out into the wild. I had an order in and they called and said we can't fill it right now. So watch for the introduction of dedicated self-defense rounds for this gun. The second thing that applies to all sub-caliber carbines and or pistols is that you need to practice for a much more precise shot. Dave Spalding, who's one of the best law enforcement and civilian instructors in the country and is a good friend, for years has used index cards, 2-inch by 3-inch index cards, as his aiming points for training. And you must do that if you're going to use a sub-caliber gun. Let's say you want to practice with this carbine, you're thinking of it as a house carbine. Then what you need to shoot on are silhouette targets, human silhouette targets. I use the VTAC targets. I also use the ICE targets. But you're practicing on 2 by 3-inch index cards. The center index card is vertical and it covers this area here. The head index card is horizontal because it covers this area here. So your focus has to be on precision aiming, exact shot placement. Now it should be that way with any gun. But when you step down to a sub-caliber self-defense gun, it has to be that way or you're not going to achieve the success that you're looking for. A second point to make quickly is from my old friend, my mentor, the late Walt Roush, who said nobody likes to bleed. Nobody likes to have holes punched in them. One of the important things we learn from intuitive defensive shooting is we don't know how many shots it takes to end an aggressor's attack. So when we're using sub-caliber, think lots of holes. And that's the advantage of using a sub-caliber gun, is because it's not recoiling, because it's not pounding you and rising up high or rising up high with the pistol, it allows you a quick recovery and the ability to place more shots on that target. So, I'm Michael Bain. This is Triggered, brought to you this week by Taurus. Everything we talk about here, of course, you can find links on michaelbain.tv, where you, of course, can see Triggered as well. You can see Triggered on YouTube and on Rumble. So check us out. We're going to put more rounds through this guy. We'll see you next week.